I'm so excited to finally be able to bring you new footage and content regarding my Unreal Engine game, Red in the Spirit Sync. Now, you might have remembered a long time ago that I was getting the characters made by an artist called Pentax, and he made the full cast, and it wasn't until recently where we decided that a lot of the characters needed a wee bit of a rework. They needed a wee bit of the soul of the game put back into them. So today we're going to be looking at the original concept designs and the final models that we're going to be using in the actual game in this video. Now, you might not think that the models have changed that much, but in reality, I mean, some of the changes are small, but the feeling of the characters is so very different, especially our main character Red. The difference he has changed from his original drawn design way back when I first started this in last year to now is insane. So let's not keep you waiting anymore. Let's start with Mayor Walden. Let's see how he's changed from then till now. So starting off with Mayor Walden, not that much has changed in terms of his physicality. In fact, the only thing that I can actually really see is his hand is slightly different, but the main things that have changed is more of his accessories. So let's start at the top and work our way down. So his hat is unchanged. However, his monocle has a bit more shine to it, it's bigger and it makes his eye bulge more. He's got one eye closed now, however that's just for this particular expression. For most of it he'll still have two eyes open. His little handkerchief in his pocket, that's been redesigned. We've actually got a couple of designs just for when he moves and stuff like that. And then of course his mayor key, the key to Fisherman's Wharf. Now if you look down at the bottom right, you can see that we had some different variations on how we wanted it. Obviously we were going for a kind of anchor key, that sort of thing. The mayor does have some other changes as well in terms of facial features, so his mouth and jaw will elongate when he speaks. It won't just be like a little black circle under his mustache. So we really wanted to give, you know, a bit more of a human element, despite him being a walrus. Actually, and the more I look at it, I just realised that his buttons and the kind of lining around the buttons on his chest, they're actually slightly different as well, a wee bit more kind of angled, which is really nice. And he's got a wee bit shading under his stomach. Just to get this one out of the way kind of quickly, Koi. Koi hasn't actually changed that much. In fact, looking at them side by side, he hasn't changed at all. The only things that have been changed or added to Koi is a bunch of new facial expressions, different eyes, hands, body positions, that sort of thing. And the reason why is, honestly, I think we kind of hit the nail on the head with Koi. We got him perfect right away, and when we were going in to look at redesigns for different characters, Koi just felt like we didn't need to redesign him. But you know who did get a massive glow up? Queen Solace herself. Now, let's take a look at her because she has changed considerably. Now, of course, if we're looking at her accessories first, her gloves, her crown, the crown's a lot more shiny, it actually looks kind of metallic, but still in a kind of toonish way. Her hands, she's got her signature fingerless gloves that she, you know, wears in all the series. And of course, she's got a lovely hair swoop coming in that kind of covers the top of her eyebrows. Now, these things were added mainly because we wanted her to have a bit of a younger appearance, and quite frankly, the original kind of felt a wee bit soulless. Not Solace, just a bit like, these characters when they don't have pie cuts tend to look a bit strange, at least to me. So we went back, we gave her the pie cuts. Solace obviously has deep blue eyes as well, so we kind of faded those in a wee bit, and honestly she looks amazing. And what's even cooler, check out the battle pose that she's got. Doesn't that look pretty sick? Seathos is currently working on the animation of how she's going to go from her stance that you see now to her battle stance, and let me tell you, it's going to be pretty cool. Now let's take a look at our big villain, Damon Greyhound. Now, Damon has went through quite a lot of changes, particularly his facial, well, his mask and his hair. However, when we were going back and looking at our previous drawing, which is the one on the right, you'll see that the cloak always kind of encompassed him, almost like there was air being pushed into it. Now, this might work for a cutscene, but for him just standing there, not so much. So we went back and we redid his cloak so that it's actually forming his body and kind of shaping him. We also redid his sword, which, to be honest, is a lot more interesting. It's kind of twisted like him, and definitely a lot more fun. And we do actually have the prime version of Damon, which is him when he was younger, which I'll show now. We haven't changed that at all. That is just as is. That is him when he's younger, which will be used for various cutscenes and stuff like that. But in terms of Damon, he kind of got the Koi treatment, where we kind of nailed his look on the head first time. So we didn't really need to change too much, just more add to what we already had. And finally, let's take a look at Red. Now, Red, to me, has changed the absolute most. Looking at his before and after is just, it's night and day. The grey shorts with the grey boots, it made sense in the Phantom Castle. It doesn't make sense in the Spirit Sync, so we wanted to get rid of that. I actually made a video earlier this year where I redesigned his colour palette, which, by the way, was difficult because Red's always had grey on grey or grey on black, and it was very difficult kind of going into a character that you've established for years and just completely changing the colour palette, but I definitely felt like it had to be done. Now, a lot more changes have been added. He is shortened, kind of shrunken down. He's a lot stockier because he is a lot younger. The original drawing was drawn kind of from his Phantom Castle era, where he's 10 years old. But in Spirit Sync, he's actually only 6. So we definitely had to make him younger looking. And of course, he has the pie cut eyes. Something that when I made him in Dreams, we couldn't really get his pie cuts the way I wanted for different reasons, because we used stickers instead of sculpts, and you probably don't know what any of that means, so it's fine. But basically, we couldn't get pie cut eyes to look right. Now, obviously, we're taking him out of Dreams and putting him in Unreal, and we've got the pie cuts. His hair looks a lot better. It's a lot more faded as well. Looks gorgeous. As well as his entire sprite sheet. He's got so many more facial expressions, arm positions and stuff like that, but you'll get to see that when eventually we do the animation update. Well, that's all the characters we have, at least the main cast. I really hope you enjoyed the changes that we've done. Let me know what you think. To me, I think the biggest change was probably Red. He feels so much more adventurous and fun now. The grey on the grey, you know, it made sense in a particular story, the Phantom Castle, but it doesn't really make sense here. And I definitely think that shortening him down and making him younger, look more kid-like, really just kind of accentuated the character. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I've got a really fun video and series coming out on Friday. It's to do with me learning Unreal Engine. So if you're curious about that, come back on Friday. But until then, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you then. Bye.